Alright, what's up YouTube? I'm Genji, and this is my travel guide to Peru in 2021. I'm going to walk through everything you need to think about before you travel to Peru, along with some of the activities I did there. I made a free itinerary, it's in the description. It has a lot of detail in there that will really make your trip a lot smoother, so definitely give it a read. I'll try to go through the core things, and yeah, let's get to it. So the first thing is budget. In my personal opinion, I'd recommend allocating around $2,000 to $3,000 US for this trip. I know that's a lot of money, but the reason why is that in order to do kind of all the core things you really go to Peru to do, like see Machu Picchu, you're going to have to spend a little extra money getting there. Places are geographically spread very far apart in Peru, so you're going to have to buy things like an inter-country plane ticket, a long train ride, or a guided tour for a day, and these things can really start to add up. So on top of that, you want to make sure you have enough time too, because you're going to spend many hours on transportation, and so this can really start to chew into your vacation days. So just make sure you plan accordingly. Next thing is COVID-19 requirements. So Peru no longer requires a 14-day quarantine period. Instead, all you have to do is show evidence of vaccination, so like a vaccine card, or a negative COVID-19 test administered within 72 hours of your flight. On top of that, you are required to fill out a mandatory health affidavit form within 72 hours of your flight. It is in Spanish, so it can be a little complicated to fill out. I provided a link in my itinerary where a guy kind of walks through exactly how to fill it out and make that process pretty easy. So additionally, the airline will also recommend you fill out a recommended pre-registration form. I recommend not filling it out because the app you have to download on your phone to fill it out is super glitchy and a huge headache. I didn't have any troubles not filling it out, so I imagine the same will be for you. Other things are face masks. So you are required to wear 2 face masks on the plane from the US to Peru. Along with certain facilities in Peru will also require 2 face masks. So just bring enough with you before you depart, just so you're prepared. Other thing is a face shield. So a couple select few facilities in Peru do require a face shield. So for example, the train ride from Cusco to Machu Picchu, you are required to wear one. So it's a good idea to bring a face shield with you before you depart. Other things are immunizations. So this is pretty standard practice, but just make sure you contact your travel nurse and walk through all the immunizations you'll need for your travel. It might consist of things like a yellow fever shot, or a typhoid vaccine, or a rabies series shot. On top of that, ask for any medications you might need, so this might consist of altitude sickness pills or a reserve of antibiotics. You're not supposed to drink the tap water in Peru, so you can get sick from it because of the bacteria that's in it, so the antibiotics are meant in case you accidentally do drink it. So next is insect repellent. In case you didn't know, there's this thing called dengue fever in South America. It's basically a disease that's transferred through mosquitoes. I don't know if it's a bacteria or virus, but basically if you catch it, there's a 2% lethality rate, and there's no vaccine for it. So you may want to bring insect repellent with you. Now, with that being said, I didn't really feel like mosquitoes were a huge issue in the urban parts of Lima or in Cusco. Cusco's at such a high altitude that there's no mosquitoes there. And then Lima's so urban that there weren't any mosquitoes there either. The only place I felt like I needed it was on one of the hikes up to Machu Picchu. When you go through some of that forest along the trail, there are bugs and mosquitoes, so you might want to bring it with you there. Next are documents. So again, safe practice, just make sure you take front and back pictures of all your credit and debit cards, your passport, and your driver's license, so you have digital copies of those. In case you have to go to the US Embassy and there's an emergency, you have those in reserve. Next are payment options. So in Peru, a lot of businesses do accept Visa card, so you will want to contact your bank and just let them know that you will be traveling so that your credit card transactions don't get declined. Now with that being said, a lot of businesses are cash only, so you will want to bring US dollars with you when you travel. In Peru, they do use their own currency. It's called the sol, or the soles. Places do not accept US dollars, so you will need to exchange. You can exchange them at the airport and get a favorable exchange rate. So next is cell service. So you have a couple options here. You can go through your US carrier and buy the international data service. It's about $10 per day. Alternatively, you can get a SIM card in Peru. If you decide to do this, just make sure that your phone is global or unlocked to ensure that it's compatible with the Peruvian SIM card. You can get the SIM card in the airport, or if you want a more competitive price, you can buy one in Lima. Next is exercise. So a lot of the locations like Machu Picchu, Rainbow Mountain, or Cusco are at very high altitudes, and so doing simple things like walking a few steps or walking up the stairs is actually pretty strenuous. So it's always good maybe to do cardio exercise months before your trip. A little bit does go a long way and helps managing the altitude much easier. The next thing is the Spanish language. So people in Peru do speak Spanish, and if they speak English, it's usually very limited. So even knowing a basic amount of Spanish will take you very far. It will help make managing logistics with your cab drivers, vendors on the street, or airport personnel, or waiters and waitresses much easier. So definitely brush up on as much as you can, and it will really help you out, and it'll make your trip a lot smoother. Other things are Machu Picchu tickets. So definitely buy your Machu Picchu tickets months in advance. The time slots fill up quickly, and if you procrastinate, then you'll have to buy what's called a VIP ticket, which is just a normal ticket. It's just $100 more. So I made that mistake, so don't make that yourself. Next are your Lima to Cusco plane tickets. You're definitely going to want to visit Cusco while you're in Peru, so make sure you buy your Lima to Cusco plane tickets a couple months in advance. You can book them through LATAM Airlines, which is in Spanish, but just use Google Chrome and then right click and translate, and then it'll convert the page to English and you can check out and buy your tickets pretty easily. Next is transportation. So when you're in Lima and Cusco, you definitely do not want to rent a car. The traffic in Lima and Cusco is absolutely insane, and it's not a condition you want to drive in. Instead, what you can do is what I did, and that's just use Uber. It was extremely safe, and it was really smooth and very affordable. If you want other options, there also is Cabify, which I heard sometimes is a little safer because the requirements are a lot higher to become a driver. And then also there are private taxi companies you can go through. So also I want to talk about the drive from the Lima airport to Miraflores. So when you land, you'll land in Lima, and then you'll probably want to go to Miraflores, which is 45 minutes away. Now the thing is, at the airport, Uber is actually banned, and so instead, do not hail down a random taxi because the area around Lima is a little sketchy and the requirements to become a taxi driver are a little low. So instead, go through a private company, go past the baggage carousel, and go up to one of the private taxi companies, so Taxi Green, Taxi Direct, or Taxi 365. Give them your address where you'll be going and pay for a ride, and then you'll meet your taxi driver out front. This is the safest option, and it's a very professional service, and they'll get you to where you need to be. You do not want to hail down a random taxi because the area around Lima is a little sketchy, and you don't know if the person you're hailing down is an actual authorized taxi driver. Next is voltage. So Peru does operate at 220 volts. So if you're only using your laptop and your cell phone, then these devices nowadays can typically run at dual voltage. So you won't need a voltage converter if you're just using those devices. But if you are bringing another device like a hair dryer or hair straightener, those typically only operate at a single voltage. So you will want to buy a voltage converter to safely use those devices. Now, the next thing, everyone will want to buy this. It's a physical plug adapter into the outlet. In Peru, they typically use dual prong round pin plugs, but in the US we use dual flat prong plugs. So you are going to want to pick up a physical shaped plug adapter so you can use all your devices or charge all your devices without any issues. So the next thing is luggage and souvenirs. So there's a lot of cool souvenirs in Peru that are super affordable. I got a lot of different things. So one thing I picked up was this awesome poncho. So yeah, I think the souvenirs are really affordable in Peru, so you're going to want to buy a lot, so definitely leave enough space in your luggage to bring all of it back. Next is coca-based products. So in Peru, coca leaves are grown, which typically are processed to make cocaine. But on top of that, they sell in the stores coca products like coca leaves, coca gum, and coca chocolate. They won't get you high like cocaine at all, but they'll give you like a slight buzz like coffee. Just bear in mind, it's technically illegal to bring these coca products back to the United States. So just make sure you don't have them in your luggage before you depart. Customs will seize them, and it is illegal, and it's not really an issue you want to have to deal with, so just bear that in mind. Now, the next thing is your departure COVID-19 test. So in order to return to the United States, whether you're vaccinated or not, you will need a negative COVID-19 test within 72 hours of your flight. You can book an appointment at the local hospital or health facility. You just walk in for your appointment, and then they give the COVID-19 test, and they'll email you your results either that night or the next day. And it's a pretty smooth process overall. So the next thing is safety. So I read up a lot on safety in Peru, and honestly, I got really paranoid and scared about how dangerous it would be. And to be honest, based on my experience, the urban areas of Lima I was in, so Miraflores, Barranco, San Isidro, which are the more upscale districts, I felt completely safe in those districts. I felt completely safe in Cusco, at Rainbow Mountain, and Machu Picchu. With that being said though, Lima is a large metropolis, and so if you wander maybe outside some of these upscale districts, you might find it to be a little more sketchy. I went to the Central Plaza, which was more in the heart of Lima, and I felt completely safe still. There was not 1 second during my trip where I felt unsafe. I felt completely comfortable pulling my phone out or pulling cash out to pay a vendor. Now with that being said, I did exercise safe practice and caution, and I was always aware of my surroundings. But I honestly felt a lot safer being in Peru than I did in like a Los Angeles or San Francisco. So, but yeah, anything can happen at any time. So just always, have your head on a swivel and be careful. But yeah, overall, it was a very positive experience. So next I want to talk about the activities. So there's an array of activities you can do. When you're in Lima, you'll be doing a lot of urban type activities. So like going to museums, walking along the boardwalk, along the cliff, dining in at a lot of the awesome restaurants. Peru has such unique cuisine, so you definitely want to eat your heart out. Peru definitely has a lot of unique and awesome cuisine, and it's super affordable, so you definitely want to eat out at all the restaurants you can. Other things like visiting the city center and the cathedrals, it's a really awesome experience, and you get to see all the unique history and culture within Peru. Now, with that being said, you're definitely going to want to get out of Lima and make it to Cusco, because Cusco is where you really experience that cultural shift. It's such a unique town. It's very rural, but massive at the same time. And when you're in Cusco, you can explore the city, and from Cusco, you can go visit Rainbow Mountain or Machu Picchu. You can go to Sacred Valley and do ATV riding. The ATV riding I definitely recommend because you get to go around these crazy ravines and up these cool mountains, and it's just an awesome experience. Other things are Rainbow Mountain. So on Rainbow Mountain, you can do horseback riding up to the base of the summit, and that's like an awesome experience. Or you can just hike the whole trail. Machu Picchu, you definitely need to go see Machu Picchu. It would be a crime if you did not see Machu Picchu while you're in Peru. And lastly, you can go south of Lima towards Huacachica, and there you can visit the oasis. You can do sandboarding or dune buggying. You can go visit the Pisco Vineyards or the Nazca Lines. And additionally, you can visit the National Reserve in Paracas and visit the Ballestas Islands, where it's kind of like their version of the Galapagos Islands, but much more affordable. So yeah, there's a lot of activities to do. Definitely hit as much as you can while you're there. I'm sure you'll have a great experience. Let me know if you have any questions, and leave a comment and just let me know kind of how your experience went. I'd love to hear it. So that's everything I have to offer. So hopefully it helps, and thanks guys.
Ah.